Hello, everyone. I am so excited to have you all here today. It is our third episode of Evenness Decentralized series, and we run them every other week. And we have amazing, inspiring speakers every time. Just the difference is in topics. We try to cover as much as possible to introduce you or provide more knowledge on the topics of Web 3.0, NFTs, crypto economy, creator economy, metaverse, and everything else there associated with this technology that is based on blockchain. So welcome to the event, and let me introduce myself quickly because many of you know me. I'm Eve, founder and CEO of Evenness. We are a global extended reality solutions provider for interactive events, remote teams collaboration, and virtual learning. With the power of metaverse, this wonderful tool, we can bring people together from across the globe. We can address the most important burning issues in our society, achieve or create awareness around social justice, sustainable development goals, and frontier technology. That is really, really something interesting to learn about. Without any further ado, I would really love to introduce you to our first speaker, our keynote speaker, who is a role model for me. She's been known for many interesting, exciting, inspiring, technology-driven projects and innovations, known as top 10 women globally in the field of technology. Sandy Carter, who will be standing in the same spot where I am, we're going to exchange places, will introduce you to the shift to Web 3.0, why it is important, opportunity the technology provides, and hey, why we all should be getting a domain from Unstoppable Domains, the company she represents as Senior Vice President and Channel Chief, because Evenness, for example, got ours, and we are very happy to use it. So, without any spoiler, Sandy, please come to the stage.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Eve, for having me here. So, for me, getting into this space, I started about a year or so ago. And my first foray into the Web3 space was to talk to about 100 different partners, 100, that consisted of companies, VCs, skeptics, critics, supporters, so that I could really understand what was going on in the space. And there's a couple of things that I learned about the space. First, it has a lot of different names: blockchain, crypto, NFT, DeFi, metaverse, Web3, whatever you choose to call it, it is real. Secondly, I found so many examples of where it is already disrupting companies and markets, and it's just started. So I think the disruption will continue, even though we're in the midst of a crypto winter right now, which means that the crypto prices are down. And the final thing is that it is creating lots of opportunity. And in fact, one of the ways that I measure, what's happening in a space is to look at the developers, and developers in the Web3 space just increased 61% year over year. So there is a lot of opportunity here as well. Now, when we talk about Web3, if I had to say one word that describes what Web3 is versus what Web2 is, it would be the word ownership. I think Web1 was about discovery. Web2 was really about social media platforms and marketplaces, aggregators. But Web3 is about you, the member, and that ownership of data that you have. In fact, as we think about a one sentence to describe what Web3 is, I describe it as an open movement to broadly decentralize the internet. Today, we've got a lot of dependencies on central organizations. So Web3 decentralizes the internet, and it allows for individual ownership of that identity and that personal data that you have today. I will say, starting off right away, that we are super early. I like to say that we are in the dial-up phase of where we are today. And that just means that we're going to experience some challenges. So for example, we experience UX and ease of use challenges, great opportunities for entrepreneurs around the world, actually. Um, we do have some issues. There aren't many standards out there today, and standards are really important as you move forward. They're also, the tech can be really expensive. So for example, you hear a lot about blockchain. Well, putting data on the chain is super expensive. So there are a lot of challenges today. Like I said, we're in the dial-up phase of Web3, but there's already value. There's already use cases. Crypto is a great use case of blockchain. NFT art is a great use case of how the masses can jump in. There are just so many awesome things that are happening today. So if you think about what's happening in the verse, in the metaverse, and what's happening, where you can move forward as well, is you also can see or can hear about some of the things that are being viewed today as well. So, for example, there is a flywheel starting in the world as well. So, as new adopters enter the market, oh, I guess I should pause for a second because I worked for Amazon Web Services for so long. We always talk about flywheels. Flywheel is the way that Amazon Commerce built their engine. They started with low prices, which got more people into the market, which made them have more customers come, which meant that more people lowered their prices. And it just started this flywheel going that really couldn't be stopped. The same thing I see is happening today around the Web3 space. We have a lot of early adopters entering. They're making money, they're having fun, they're adding value. Because of that, it's driving more VC investment in the space. More VC investment means that there's more applications and more innovation, which means that more adopters enter and the circle just starts to spin as we go around that flywheel as well. It's a very powerful viewpoint of, how things are happening and how they're showing today as well. Yeah, because the next one is very visual. For me, it really tells the full story because what it does is I'm a visual learner. And so for me, I like to see, how things are projected and what they look like in a picture, not just with words. And so what the picture shows is it really helps you to see um, how everything fits together, and it shows you the two-sided marketplace. So maybe you can just envision a little bit about what this might look like. So imagine on one side of the two-sided marketplace, a set of creators that are there today. And those creators are creating in a creator economy. Think about artists, musicians, companies like mine who do domains. And then on the right side of the marketplace, you think about digital networks, multi-sided consumption networks that exist there today. So there is this two-sided marketplace that makes this space really interesting. So if you can envision with me a picture in the middle of that two-sided marketplace that begins with the blockchain. So the blockchain is the base or the backbone of Web3, metaverses, DAOs, et cetera. It is a trusted, private, and secure value exchange that enables the Web3 motion to work. Built on top of the blockchain is Web3, and this is where decentralized access and that self-sovereign identity sits. That self-sovereign identity, for me, is one of the critical elements, just like blockchain for Web3. It really enables a digital identity that travels with you. This is one of the things that Unstoppable Domains does today, and part of the reason I left Amazon to come over here. The next layer in my picture are DAOs, and DAOs to me are so important. And in fact, in the DAO area, if you think about it, DAOs are really probably should be in the center. DAOs are driven by AI, and they provide that governance that you need in the marketplace. DAOs have become so important. Whole companies right now are doing DAOs. And in fact, we're working with a family wallet, a wallet that's a multi-generational wallet. They've created family DAOs, like a starter kit for family DAOs. And then if you move up the stack, you'll see metaverses. And these are digital experiences like what we're in today, right? We have avatars. It's viewed as what we are today. And it really showcases how you would live and sleep and work in a metaverse. And then on the very top are the interfaces that exist. And those interfaces are so important, but so missing today. This is why, people will start down the path of Web3 or the metaverse and they'll be like, oh, it's so hard. Like, how do I do it? But imagine in the future, if instead of using our arrow keys to move around, we could just think about moving around or having human APIs to clap instead of having to hit a set of keys. I think that's where the space is going, and lots of opportunities today for um, so many to participate. So for me, this is how it all fits together. And for me, it's so much easier seeing this picture than not being able to see the picture. So if you could take me to the next slide, Eve. And this is where I will close out. For me, there are 5 essentials or basic assumptions that support this ownership model for Web3. The first one is decentralization. And I know today not everything is decentralized. It's partially decentralized. So for me, decentralization or hybrid decentralization is important because what it means is that not one company, not one government owns the data, not one company or government owns the contracts, gets to decide who gets to play and who doesn't, much like that Apple Epic battle, right, that occurred. It's also about the technology. It makes it more reliable and more secure as well. So I think decentralization has to be one of the basic assumptions around Web3 and the metaverse. The second one is a digital identity, which is, as I described earlier, why I came to Unstoppable Domains. This identity is so crucial because it enables your identity to travel with you. No longer do you have to sign into, your Instagram app and then your Twitter app and then your Google app. Now you can sign in with one user ID and password that links to your wallet, that eventually will link to your healthcare data, your education data. It will be an ID that travels with you. So right now I can use my single ID from Unstoppable. I can go into metaverses like Atlantis. I can go into games, can go into DeFi applications like Cook Finance. It enables me essentially to have one username and one password. The second one is built on the blockchain, which we've talked about a few times. The blockchain is a phenomenal technology and enables us to, really drive where we need to be. The next is community, and it's a non-technical area, but really what that community does is that community enables you as you're thinking through for that community. Not you're a member now, you're not a user, you are a member. So the community is the project is the community. One example I love to use is the Lazy Lions roadmap. In my old role, I would gather input and insight, and then I would produce a roadmap and share it with the community. But the way the Lazy Lions do it in the Web3 world is the roadmap is done with the community. So the roadmap is the communities. We're building it for the community rather than for the company, if you would. And then the last area here is really focused on, the financial benefits and where do those financial benefits go? Those financial benefits in Web3 go to you as the user. So hopefully this was a quick and dirty kind of mentorship for you on Web3. The last thing that I would add is where Eve started around diversity. Diversity matters here. As I said early on, we are in the early stages of Web3. And that means, that dial-up phase. This is the time when we need diverse voices to be heard, to impact every aspect, like how your avatar looks and moves, how decentralization is done. What does the next generation of blockchain look like? How do we develop communities? Diverse voices must be in all of that. That's why I started our group called Unstoppable Women of Web3, which is a very powerful group to educate and bring more and more women and other diverse groups into Web3. And Eve, that's why I love what you're doing and why I agreed to come here today. I really wanted to share what we were doing and the importance of this in the world today. So thank you for giving me a few minutes to provide insight into Web 1 versus Web 2 versus Web 3. Thank you.